So I'm here to talk about the phenomenon of fighter pay, specifically UFC fighter pay, because this is something that's kind of being talked about a lot, and that's been kind of debated a lot on the internet. And let's analyze it a little bit. So these guys are getting paid 12,000 and 12,000. Let me break down the contract for you guys. The base pay for a UFC fighter that's a debut fight, that's a debut fighter coming into the UFC gets paid 12,000 to show and 12,000 to win. So the best case scenario, they make 24K. If they win, they make 24K. That smells so good. if they win their fight, they make 24K. Now, for their first fight, typically the UFC tries to get them into a 6-fight contract or a 5-fight contract, I believe. It's a significant amount of fights. GSP said that in one of the videos. He said that when a fighter comes early into the UFC, they should never take a 6-fight deal because your stock may be higher after you win 3 fights. Maybe your stock is higher. So that's why you shouldn't sign a contract that's long. But the problem with that is when you're a new fighter coming into the organization, when you're a new fighter coming into the organization, you don't necessarily have the leverage to be able to make those kind of decisions and say, okay, I don't want to sign the deal. I don't want to sign the fights. I don't want to sign to fight for 12K and 12K for 6 fights. I want to sign this for maybe 2 fights or 1 fight. The UFC is not going to sign you. So that's the concept. So herein comes in the concept of leverage in negotiations. If you're a fighter coming into the UFC with a record that's maybe 12-2, or you're maybe like not really even a great fighter, like there's obviously fighters. There's different types of fighters. There's fighters that are on a high level. Like maybe there's a fighter like Paddy Pimblett. He deserves way more than 12-12. He's a fighter that's established. He's got a name. He can sell out arenas. But he still got paid 12-12, which kind of suggests to me that the UFC is more of a bloodsucker, parasite organization. Because you cannot tell me that Paddy Pimblett doesn't deserve more than 12-12. You know? There are some fighters out there that probably do deserve the 12-12. There are not exactly a top elite fighter. Maybe they're fighting in Ryzen, or I don't know, bro. Like fucking ONE FC. I looked into it. Their numbers is even lower. They get paid 4K and 4K, the base pay. ONE FC is even worse. Bellator is probably worse. Maybe it's better than the UFC. But yeah, man, like, it's tough being a fighter, man. Like, you could possibly die in the octagon and you only get paid $12,000. That's it. The worst case scenario is you make $12,000. So you get knocked out, unconscious. You'd be knocked out unconscious and you get paid 12K. Or you break a limb or an arm or a leg because you didn't tap. And then you get paid 12K. That doesn't even cover the hospital bills and health insurance. And so why do these guys become fighters? It's obviously not for the money. Because they don't get paid much at all. They could just work at fucking Starbucks and make more money. They could make more money working at fucking Starbucks, man. I don't understand it. Why do they do this? Is it because they want to become more? Of course, every fighter on the roster. Brendan Schaub mentioned it in one of his videos. Every single fighter on the roster of the UFC, their main goal is to become the champion. They're trying to become, of course, that's what they have. They're not there just to be fighting and making 12-12. Yeah, but Dana does kind of like give you a better contract after your 6 fights. But first you have to actually win all of those 6 fights. If you win maybe 4 of those fights and you lose 2, Dana's not going to give you a big bump in pay. Maybe he will. Slight. And then he'll give you a 6-fight contract. Another 6-fight one. Look at Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, he came into the UFC getting paid peanuts. Yeah, but it's probably a lot of money to him because he's, you know, is it a lot of money to me? I mean, would I want 12 and 12? Yeah, but I'm not a fighter. I'm not going into the cage to try and risk my life and my health. I wouldn't do it. But that's me. Is it because they love it? They love the sport? I don't know, man. You love the sport so much that you're willing to die in there and you get paid 12 and 12, man? Fuck, shit is crazy to me. It's not about the money. Life's about money. If anyone tells you it's not about the money, then what the fuck is it about, dude? What the fuck are we doing here, dude? What the fuck is it about? It's not about the money? What? Oh my god. It's not about the money? What? Oh my god. It's not about the money, dude. It's always about the fucking money. It's always about the fucking money, dude. The money's always part of the fucking equation. The money's always the fucking goal. That's the goal right there. The money. What are you talking about? It's not about the money, dude. Dude, you fucking lying ass. Fucking lying ass. Every time someone says it's not about the money, you fucking little lying little weasel. It's not about the money. Come on, man. Tell somebody else that. Tell somebody else that, man. But yeah, man, it just doesn't seem fair, right? Life's not fair at the same time. Well, at the same time, life's not fair. So what about the bonuses? What about the 50K bonuses? But that happens, that's like a drop in the bucket. That happens like so less often that it's crazy. And by the way, UFC fighter pay hasn't even really increased that much because base pay used to be like what, 5K and 5? Or was it less? Or 3K and 3K? Or 2K and 2K? Shit, that shit wasn't even. I mean, I think it was like 4K and 4K, and then it bumped up to 8K and 8K, and then it bumped up to 10K and 10K, and then it bumped up to 12K and 12K, which is it's not a lot of money, man. Because when you win, even if you win your first 6 fights, okay, you made 120. What do you make? First 6 fights, 24 times 6. But typically, I don't think they get 6-fight deal or 5 or 4. Yeah, I think the managers also need to get a lot more hate in the UFC. Like, come on, man. 12 and 12 for Paddy fucking Pimblett, dude? I think there's a conflict of interest in there because Paddy Pimblett's manager is also works for Cage Warriors, and Cage Warriors is also kind of like an intermediary for the UFC. It's kind of similar to Invicta. A lot of those girls from Invicta go to, it's like a feeder league. That league is basically the little league of the UFC. It's like the UFC is like a parent company of those companies. They're like the amateurs. Well, not exactly an amateur ground, but basically you go to Invicta, you win a bunch of fights, and then you get signed to the UFC. Or you go to Cage Warriors, you win a bunch of fights and you get signed to the UFC. Or you go to Bellator, you win a bunch of fights and you go to UFC. That's how it is, man. That's how it is, bro. That's how the promotion works. I mean, I kind of get it at the same time. Like, a lot of these guys are not exactly established or big names in different organizations. I guarantee you Chandler was getting paid more than 12 and 12 in his first fight from Bellator. Yeah, but Chandler was an established fighter. He actually won and he was a champion in a different organization. All this, like even Ben Askren, he probably got paid more than 12 and 12. So yeah, I guess, but at the same time, like he got paid what, 50 and 50? Like, all right. I mean, I don't know, man. Why do they do it, man? It's about the money. It's always about the money, bro. Don't tell me it's not about the money because I'm just going to laugh at your ass.